Cleaf Mains, are you tired of being the front line and never getting any appreciation? Tired of the Spider Queen and Expedition slamming down on your face? I mean, I'd let her sit on my face.
Okay.
Does this happen? And then right after this happens? Okay. Are you fed up with Orbias telling you how to beat this dungeon when all of you know full well that you just speed cleared it anyway? Well, fear no more. ShuShu is the secret dungeon monster you forgot about because you were too busy gawking over Cassie. Eyes front, soldier. Boobs are temporary. Combat power is forever. Okay, let's talk about ShuShu. She is an amazing support monster that can honestly be used in most areas of the game, but absolutely shines in 3 particular areas. Queen's Spider Nest, the Special Expedition Arachne, and the Twisted Marsh raid boss Kylea. Also, pretty good in Floor 3 of the Galagos runes, Double Arachne, and recently ShuShu has been making some moves in PvP, finding its way to the top of the PvP ladder. The things that make ShuShu so good is that she can remove dots, heal, and apply immunity all in a single skill. ShuShu Skill 1 heals you 37.8% of ShuShu's max HP and also applies recovery given up for the next heal. Skill 2 is the big one though. She recovers 37.8 of max HP, removes all dots, and finds the ally with the lowest HP and gives them more healing to them. And finally applies immunity to everyone who is max HP. There is so much in just this one skill, it's crazy. The removal of dots and then the subsequent immunity makes her so strong against the spider bosses or any dots heavy opponent. Let's take a closer look at these bosses and why ShuShu is the key. In the Special Expedition, I could not find a good team that would consistently clear even 10 runs without failing, and that was just at the level 3 version. Mind you, I've got a really good summoner and a really good set of monsters and runes. I wasn't even thinking about the level 4 one at that time. And yes, I'm not the only one that's struggling with this. A lot of Cleaf mains in particular are in this weird spot where we can't heal enough to stay alive and don't do enough damage to take the boss down quickly. ShuShu is able to immediately begin removing dots that the boss applies and then apply immunity so you're not getting dots in the first place. This is important because the boss does significantly more damage when you have dots applied. So, keep those dots off and stay healed up automatically with ShuShu Soul Linked and with the Skill 1 turned off. Her Skill 1 really isn't that great. Because you also need a warrior on your team for the Special Expedition, ShuShu is Soul Linked, I use Bulldozer and Helya for the defense break and brand. I was running this dungeon earlier and went through 10 runs with Bulldozer, unruined, and dying right off the start, so ShuShu really is the powerhouse support that carries you through this dungeon. I've clocked in over 100 runs now of level 4 Special Expedition with ShuShu and have failed maybe once or twice. The boss and the small spiders honestly don't do a ton of damage as long as you don't have poison on you. If you have a certain stack of poison on you, the boss will jump up, slam on top of you, and you will die very quickly, even proccing Endure and then it happening again. This same concept can apply in the regular rune dungeon, the Spider Queen. It's pretty much the same fight, so bring in ShuShu Soul Linked and pretty much any other DPS of your choice to bring down this boss. Moving ahead to something more challenging, the Twisted Marsh raid boss Kylea. My current team is ShuShu, Theomars, and Sekhmet. Sometimes I'll bring a Helya if the team needs one, and if there's another ShuShu or even a Lulu/Annabelle in the party, I'll sometimes run Juno, who's arguably better here, but even as free-to-play 4-star, I honestly think that ShuShu is better. Now, just like any other healer, you want to make sure that you use your skills at the right time so you're not wasting mana and dying. For instance, let's zoom in on the part that kills most players when they first start this raid. The boss will do this massive swap of buffs and debuffs, and then she will apply dots to you twice. 1 and 2. It is at this point that you want to use your skill 2 to cleanse the dots, get immunity applied to you, and now you can just stand there and keep doing damage. Typically after this sweeping attack, she will then do a large massive AoE attack blast that if you have 6 stacks of bleed or poison, you will die instantly even through Cleaf's Endure. The problem with both Annabelle and Lulu is that they do a pretty good job, but when all of these debuffs get stacked on you, especially as a Cleaf player on the front line, you can have upwards to 5, 6, 7 debuffs on you at the same time. Lulu and Annabelle only cleanse one at a time. They will typically cleanse the very first debuff that was applied to you in order, which is not the poison or the bleed, which is what you want to get rid of. So you have to spam that cleanse skill several times, or hopefully get one of your other teammates to spam the skill until eventually you might get the poison. You can have as many debuffs as you want on you, especially as a Cleaf player, and you won't die from the AoE attack as long as you don't have poison or bleed stacked on you. To be specific, it's 6 stacks of bleed or 6 stacks of poison and you will die instantly. Another place you'll start seeing ShuShu pop up is in the floor 3 final boss room in the Galagos dungeon. You have a Talatis, Borbo, and then double Arachne bosses all in the same fight. This set of bosses is notoriously very difficult for most people, not being able to get past the double spider queens. While it's not foolproof, many people are bringing in ShuShu to mitigate the amount of poison being applied to stand a better chance at clearing this boss room. Finally, ShuShu is actually finding its way into PvP, even at the highest levels of play. I watch a couple live streams from time to time of high level flayers, and they're definitely picking ShuShu. ShuShu was a viable pick against Juno's Dots, the Burn, Teor's Frostbite, and many other dot situations. There's a lot of monsters out there that are doing Poison and Burn and Frostbite. In PvP situations, it's often okay to keep ShuShu as a Unsoul Linked and as a backup healer, cleanser, and immunity buffer. Not only cleansing the debuffs, but also the immunity itself is an extremely powerful buff for your team. This is in part what makes Wusa such a meta monster right now, not just because of the shields and the small amount of healing, but more so because of the immunity. Immunity is extremely strong in this heavier, brawly, tanky meta. In order to kill one of these extremely tanky monsters, you're really going to need a solid defense break, and if immunity is up the majority of the match, it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to land that defense break, as well as time some of their other skills to take down one of your monsters. Immunity is extremely strong, and ShuShu provides that immunity as well as some big heals and some big cleanses on dots. Hopefully I've convinced you to build one, but I would be a bad friend if I didn't show you how to build one. It's pretty easy, honestly. Build her with as much HP as possible, as their healing is based on their own HP. HP percent runes in slot 2, 4, and 6. Next, I would focus your substats on defense, evasion, and resistance. Preferably energy runes all around, but you can definitely swap in some guard, foresight, or even a couple of those decent endure runes that you have lying around. This is my second HP set, but it's an evasion set, so I have a lot less HP in comparison to the first set, but my evasion is maxed out at 100% and I have really good resistance as well, so it's not fully balancing out, but it does help. Both of these have seemed to work for me pretty well. Alright guys, I hope this has been helpful to you. If it was, leave a like on the video. Also, in the comments, let me know what 3 or 4 star monster do you feel like is not getting a lot of love in the community. Maybe I'll do another spotlight on them. As always, I'm TopherSmurf telling you to keep on gaming.